All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to All Gains Mindset, where we help you get on the grind and improve your mind. So we're going to go into a new study talking about obesity. So we're furthering spreading this message about the dangers of today's society when it comes to the food you eat. And let's go. According to this study that we have seen, unfortunately, it's been brought to us by Twitter, the infamous site where
Thank you, Twitter.
my brain cells go to die. So, obesity of U.S. children increased among 5 through 11-year-olds from 36.2% to 45.7% during the pandemic, according to new study. So, maybe we should click into this.
Yeah, so I'm going to click into that. So, just what it's telling you is that with that age group, the obesity rate was way under half of the population of that group. Now it's pretty much at half.
Yeah.
So like almost one of two children in that 5 to 11 is obese. And so let's continue going into there.
Changes in body mass index among children and adolescents during the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has been associated with weight gain among adults, but little is known about the weight of U.S. children and adolescents. To evaluate pandemic-related changes in weight in school-aged youth, we've compared the body mass index, BMI, calculated as weight in kilograms divided by height in meters squared of youths aged 5 to 17 years during the pandemic in 2020 to the same period before the pandemic in 2019. Big difference.
They're just trying to explain what body mass index, how they use body mass index, and where they're getting their math from, because that's pretty much what this is supposed to be doing. And so they have their results. So they had, it wasn't just like only white people or only a specific group. It was people of different races, different ages, different ethnicities. The mean pre-pandemic BMI was 20.7. The study population was comparable with overall population with regard to sex, age, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic factors. Pre-pandemic, 38.9% of youth in the cohort were overweight or obese, compared with 39.4% in the source. So that's a small increase right there. They also break it down between the things. We will have this article in the description, so if you want to read it yourself. We're not going to read the whole thing. That would take way too long, and it's a lot of stuff to go over. But they go over the specific body mass index per age, and with the ethnicity being all over the place, race, age, sex, ethnicity, it's all over. So it's pretty much a even line. So there's no majority of males or majority of whites or something like that. There's nothing really to that specifically. Significant weight gain occurred during the COVID-19 pandemic among youths, especially among the youngest children. These findings, if generalizable to the U.S., suggest an increase in pediatric obesity due to the pandemic. Study limitations include the observational design and inclusion of only those with in-person appointments. However, the analyses benefited from the longitudinal data with pre-pandemic BMI and in-person well-child visits resuming at 84% of the pandemic levels by June 2020. Furthermore, the sample was comparable with relevant characteristics with the overall KPSC pediatric membership. Research should monitor whether the observed weight gain persists and what long-term health consequences may emerge. Intervention efforts to address COVID-19 related weight gain may be needed. So pretty much is what happens. These kids, because that they're told to stay home, they're told to not go out, they're told to, they need to be safe because they need to make sure that they don't bring home this stuff to their parents, because kids, scientifically speaking, they pretty much get all the crap, but they don't, like, all the sicknesses and stuff, and they don't really deal with a lot of the damages that people who are older, maybe even our age and above, have to deal with. They can get through it, and it doesn't really affect them as much because most of their immune system is there and it's hypercharged. Where a lot of older people, that's just not the case, and especially people that are have pre-existing conditions and are like fat and stuff like that, it's a lot harder for them. And so parents don't want these kids to go out and want these kids to be in a place where they can possibly get the virus, so they make them stay home And kids, because of the rise of technology, that they're not allowed to go out, they have to find ways of staying home and sedating themselves, and so sometimes they get so bored that they'll eat. We talk about it all the time on the channel where, people get bored and what they want to do is just eat because they want to at least do something, and by the action of them eating is them doing something, and in retrospect that also kind of sucks for them because they're just getting themselves fat, and which is what's happening to these kids. They're all sitting at home, they're playing their games or whatever it is that they're doing on the internet or whatever, and they're eating a lot of food because they're eating all throughout the day because they're staying home. And by doing that, they are getting fat. And that's pretty much what has happened since the beginning of the pandemic. There was, a specific amount of percentage that was obese, and it was a big chunk, which is also a problem. But because of the pandemic, it has put it into hyperdrive and just completely made it worse than what it is. Like these numbers probably could have been there probably 10 years from now, but now they're here.
Yeah. Over the years, kids are just gaining more weight, and they're gaining more weight as time goes on, and it's becoming a real problem. Like, there's a lot bigger kids, there's a lot bigger people than there were back in, the 70s, or, previous studies where people were a lot less big, they were more thin. And it's also to keep in mind that you have to be careful what you put in your household to where the kids eat. If you have a house with kids and family, you want to at least try to have healthier choices of foods in your cabinets and in your area. Because if you have really crappy foods, you are more likely to binge, at least at some point, and start eating, binge eating crackers during a movie or something. And you're going to end up eating whatever is in the house if, you really feel hungry and your brain is sending you false chemicals, especially when you're dehydrated, by the way. Pro tip to avoid, hunger and binge eating is to constantly be drinking water, because a lot of the times when you eat and you binge foods and you just think to yourself, oh, I'm hungry, I should eat. A lot of times you're wrong, because you're actually dehydrated and you need more water. You need to drink a lot of water. We recommend, for most people, I would say about a gallon a day of water. And it seems like a lot.
Especially for men.
Yeah, but if you go to the bar and you see how many beers people are chugging, it's actually not that much. I was just at a bar the other day, and a friend of mine was drinking 5 beers, big draft beers. And I was like, most people don't even drink that much water a day, let alone beer. So pro tip is drink more water so you can avoid eating all this garbage food. And the kids need water too because they need to grow and get better. And so drinking water is a big pro tip that we always say on this channel. But make sure your household is filled with healthy, nutritional, valued foods, vegetables, and if you have to have carbs, make sure they're healthy carbs and not sugar and processed foods. You want to have healthy meats and healthy fats. And avocado oil, you want to have you have to have a variety of different foods for the best benefits of your health. And your kids are going to watch what you eat, and they're going to try to mimic you. So if you're eating like garbage, your kids are going to see that, and they're probably going to try to mimic what you eat. And they're going to be more inclined to eat garbage, especially as they get older, and you're going to condition the kids from a young age to eat more crappy foods. Which is why McDonald's and so many of those big corporations make so much money out of their dumb Happy Meal toys, because you keep buying it because you do not want to cook, probably because you've had a long day, which is understandable, I get it. But you want to at least limit the amount of unhealthy foods you give to the kids, because it's going to impact them later in life. You want to have healthy, strong kids, obviously, so you have to give them the best food. You have to make your kid into the warrior that you want them to be, And when you feed them constant garbage, it's going to not help them in the future. And same thing for everyone. We should all be trying to focus. We need to lower this obesity rate that these studies are trying to tell us. It's like a warning, and we need to listen to the warnings that we're being given here, which is why I'm making this video. So just a reminder, try to make healthier decisions, and for your children and their children's children, and try to make overall this obesity problem go down that we're seeing so much evidence of. It's here to stay unless we can make a change and do something about it. So if you guys like this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as well. Leave a comment below on your thoughts on this new study, and we're going to see you in the next video.